This is our full driving review of the Mercedes CLA. Let's go. Headlamps start with halogen, yeah they still do, then optional LED, and then optional, the multi-beam LED also for more high beam performance. You can see this new generation has this cut-out hood, placed a little bit more on the back part, that makes it a little bit sporty as for a look, a little bit sharper headlamps, so to say. I think the design is a little bit less sensual than the previous generation actually. And the whole car has become about 5 centimeters wider, so you see it does have a little bit bigger stance on the road. (4.69 meters), 15'4" or 184 inches is the length of this new CLA. That's 5 centimeters longer than the predecessor CLA and 15 centimeters longer than the A-Class sedan. So that would be the difference. A-Class sedan and this one here share the very same platform, front wheel base platform, then all-wheel drive is also rear on demand. That's different to the C-Class. The C-Class is a rear-wheel driven platform. And this one here, the new CLA, has basically the same length as a C-Class. In the rear we can see a very well integrated design. Everything is basically as it would be one raindrop. I think that's very beautifully done. So what's under the hood? Today, the 250, that's a turbo petrol engine, 2 liter of displacement, 4-cylinder. 225 horsepower. Actually a good compromise. This is also a real Mercedes engine, and we'll also take it out with some higher speeds and also take a look at the consumption. Both will be very interesting, I can promise you. Here the frameless doors, so you have this window line right there, as Coupé have that. This interior, again the AMG line, very sporty steering wheel. You see the full digital setup. I'm telling you soon more about the screen choices you basically have. And those turbine vents are also really key to this interior. This is one of the main styling elements. And those seats, you get also normal seats, normal sports seats for a CLA with separated head restraint right there. And those ones are the optional, even sportier sports seats with the integrated head restraint. They look cooler, also with rest control steer. They are also available with a lot of different seat material choices. The CLA offers, like this here, microfiber on the inside and leatherette on the outside, but also a full Artico leatherette seat. It is also possible if you want something to wipe clean easier. And also a fabric on the inside, cloth on the inside and leatherette on the outside. For the, not for this seat, but for the other seats. So you have plenty of seat choices and also a lot of interesting materials, and they are all animal friendly. That's really cool. So I can just say very well done, Mercedes, as for this aspect. As for the comfort, I would advise you, at least if you're a little bit taller, not to go for the sport seats with the integrated head restraint, but for the one with a separated one, because those ones here are a little bit narrower for the seating. For smaller people, that might be suitable. If you're taller, then rather go for the one that has not the integrated head restraint, and you'll be better off as for the seating comfort. As base model, it starts with two 7-inch screens, so they're always digital, but a little bit smaller in the starting versions. And again, this one, everything you could have possibly. And then you see they also form one visual unit then. They also have this proximity sensors, you can see it right there. Soon we're going in depth on this infotainment system. It is via touch, but you can still control it from the lower angle. And also using the thumbs. Here, for example, you can also go back or to the home menu right there again. And you would use your left thumb, which is now my right thumb because of the microphone, for this other screen. And then you can also change something of the information in there. Left side here, the digital instruments. You can change something in the middle view, for example. The head-up display is also quite cool. Shows the speed and also some GPS commands and the allowed speed. And that's how the augmented reality function works. The front camera gives a camera display here in the GPS, and then you see some signs on it and exactly know where to turn. Now the infotainment system. As I showed you earlier, you could also use the touch right there, or you can scroll through with the lower pad that also gives a haptical feedback. You can also hear that. Very interesting. And you can also use the voice command. I'll soon show you more about that. First of all, let's browse in the map. You see that it goes quite quickly, responsiveness, and also the visualization is really top-notch. Hey Mercedes!
How can I help you?
Drive me to Berlin.
The category, please.
Destinations.
I am starting route guidance to Platz des 18, Moors, Berlin.
Oh, yeah. So it was like one step in between. In some other case, it was going directly. So that's also the most use case for me here as a tall adult. It does exactly fit when I sit, behind the driver's seat when I would be driving. So it is somewhat close, also considering for the length of the vehicle. The wheelbase is the same than in normal A-Class hatch or sedan. It's not a room wonder as for the rear compartment, but definitely better as in the previous generation. The trunk is now also very interesting. You can open it here, for example, with flipping the logo. We know that from some other brand, don't we? Then the biggest difference is also the same with the new A-Class generation. Here, this entry to the trunk is 11 centimeters wider, so it's easier to put things in. However, there is a big loading sill that goes then further right there, but you need this height actually that you can still store at least something in. Interesting also, as for the boot capacity, the A-Class hatch starts at 370 liters, the A-Class sedan is at 420 liters, and this one is at 460 liters. So it has more boot capacity than the other A-Class sibling, so to say. 10 liters less than the predecessor, but again, you can put things in easier now. So like this also, and you can see height-wise, does it fit like this? Yeah, you see it also fitting in vertically. And let's go. That's 150. So it was 100 to 150. Now speed is being reduced again, but see here, the brakes actually reacted quite well. I like that. Now we're also going to change the motorway, and I'll go back to the comfort mode, because when you're driving on the motorway here, it's definitely more comfortable to stay in the comfort mode. It's really interesting. They did that with the A-Class facelift of the predecessor generation, where they made the span between comfort and sportiness wider. So you definitely feel more difference now when you have the adaptive suspension between the comfort and the sport mode. And with the sport mode, it's pretty cool. And when you're on a countryside road and you have very good, like this one here, this is new asphalt here, that's really fun to do that. That's pretty cool. But as soon as it gets a little bit rougher, then the sports mode gets a little bit uncomfortable. So only for sporty, good roads, then you can enjoy that pretty much. Other than that, when you just want to relax a little bit more, have more comfort, go back to the comfort mode, and then here, seeing those waves that were on the road, how the car. Sometimes you get even like some, not exactly air suspension feeling, but something close in. So suspension-wise, well done. Steering also feels very good then. Noise insulation is very good. Keep distance is set here on the rear. Probably some, didn't even say AMG, maybe some third-party tune, something. Well, now he's shown us who's the king. But we're actually kings because we can also enjoy being in the car, not only drive fast. But we did both today. So now we can also again get to a little bit more speed. And well, I chose to have somewhat an Autobahn focus here today because when we're driving abroad, especially also in the US, sometimes we cannot go that high speeds, or also in Portugal or Spain, 100 is the maximum speed. And we have some decent landscape routes, quite often more beautiful than in Germany. But here when we're in Germany, we can, quite often get a little bit more Autobahn experience. That's maybe then also interesting for you. Also, again, 150 kilometers now, it doesn't feel like that. And it does not feel like we were driving a compact vehicle. It has, meanwhile, a decent length here, the CLA, so it has the length of a C-Class. So from the sovereignty, I like to use this term, it brings on the road, like the confidence it brings to the road, it really feels like a very grown-up car, rather like a mid-size vehicle. And now we can drive really fast and see how that one performs. Now we are about 180 kilometers already, so closer to 100 miles. And still, it's decently silent, and also how much control the car still delivers me. So everything they've done here with driving is really very well done. And now to our conclusion for today with the Mercedes CLA. This new generation is not too different on the exterior if you compare it to the previous one, but still a little bit more refined, a little bit more modern, also not too different from the Mercedes A-Class sedan, and they're also technology-based, pretty similar. This one here a little bit more design focus and a little bit longer. On the interior, you now also have some decent space if you compare it to the predecessor, especially the rear. There you can actually sit now. That was a problem before. Also more practical in the trunk area because the entry right there is also wider for all the luggage. Driving-wise, it performed very, very well. Great suspension here with the adaptive one that was tested here today. Sporty and comfortable at the same time. Great noise insulation also at higher speeds. And his A250 engine had a good performance. At the same time, pretty low in consumption. I tested that one later, as I announced, just cruise control motorway and, not so much acceleration. And then you could also bring it down to about 7 liters on 100 kilometers. That's about 36 mpg US and about 41 mpg UK. And that's actually pretty decent for this size of a car and also for this engine. And when you tune it up a little bit more, then we had the consumption figure as we stated earlier, if you want to have a little bit more fun. So overall, great performance of this vehicle. 2 things. The sport seats here with the integrated head restraint are a little bit too uncomfortable to me. Might be a personal thing, but I would then go for the base seats. And I don't see too much differences from the A-Class sedan to the CLA here. Not sure what they thought about in the product management there. This, again, as I said, a little bit more design-ish and a little bit longer, therefore also have some more space in the trunk. So that might be the deciding factor, I don't know. Please tell me your opinion in the comments and tell me also, would you rather go for a C-Class or stay here with the CLA? Hope you enjoyed the insight for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. and see you next time.